Hey friends, I'm sure you could have guessed that I'm here to make another silly Valentine's Day sign. I figured it was time to slow it down and let you know the steps I take to make it happen, so here we go. I'm using a sign blank that I got from Joann's before they closed, boo. I started by sanding it with 220 grit to make sure I have a nice smooth surface to work with. Then I painted the inlaid groove, or whatever you want to call it, and before using my 2-inch roller to cover the rest of the sign with Rust-Oleum Ultra Matte chalked paint in the color Linen White. This paint is definitely my go-to with all my signs, really. I typically do 2 to 3 base coats, which is probably overkill, but hey, I want to make sure everything is good and covered. Very important yet extremely daunting step here, paint the sides. I found that it's easier to do if I elevate my sign so I can just roll the sides without having to touch the wet paint. Now that my base coats are dry, I go back in and do a light sanding with the 220 grit again, just to ensure that I have a nice, flat, even surface. Now I'm using painter's tape to cover the parts of my sign that I'd like to stay white. I'm going to use a scrap piece to make sure that my spacing is nice and even. As you can see, I've applied a light coat of my white base paint to kind of create a barrier, essentially preventing my pink paint from bleeding onto the parts that I want covered. Now I'm using a 1-inch foam brush to paint my lines pink, using matte finish acrylic paint by Folk Art in the color Tickled Pink. Starting with a really light coat for the first, and then going back in with a heavier coat for the second. After letting that dry, it's time to peel and reveal. And if you've ever done this, you know it can be either literally infuriating or 100% satisfying. Luckily, the more I do this, the less times I have to get pissed because my paint bled. Now that all my tape is off, I use that same 220 grit to smooth my surface again. Now I go in with a slightly damp paper towel to make sure I got all the dust off. Now I've seen lots of people skip this step, but I haven't yet mastered the art of keeping my paint stuck while applying my vinyl. So I apply a thin layer of clear, ultra-flat polyacrylic top coat by Minwax. This ensures that my paint ain't going nowhere. I used my Silhouette Cameo Plus to cut my words out for this sign using Oracle 651 matte vinyl that I assume I got from Amazon or Joann's or Michael's, I don't know. Then I applied transfer tape from this roll I got on Amazon, probably paid $20 for it, and it's lasted me so long, I don't even know what the brand is anymore. Then I go in with my little burnishing tool and burnish the shit out of both front and back sides. This ensures that my vinyl will stick to my transfer tape. Well, hopefully anyways. Now that I've laid out all my words, I'm ready to stick them on. I usually use painter's tape to mark out where all the vinyl will go, but with this sign, the words are so squished to fit precisely that I decided I could skip that step, slap them on there, and hope like hell I don't completely fuck up the spacing. And here comes another peel and reveal. At this point, I find out if I've done enough sanding. If I have, the vinyl will stick seamlessly. If not, I will fight it. Unfortunately, my vinyl chose to be a pain in my ass. So I apply some heat to soften the adhesive, allowing it to freaking stick. Hopefully. As you can see here, I still fought it the entire way, but my mother always says patience is a virtue, so I did that, used my patience, finally got it all on there. I got these cute little wooden heart cutouts from the Dollar Tree, painted them, and now I'm gonna hot glue them onto my sign. And for the final touch, I'm going to add a cute little bow. And there you have it. Someday, once I get my poop in a group, you should be able to get this sign on my Etsy shop. Until then, please help me get out of the restaurant biz by liking and subscribing to my channel. Until next time, I'll just be out here craft-a-lackin'. Thanks for watching.